Welcome to The Art Confidential, the podcast where we dive into the parts of being a creative that usually stay off Instagram.
We're your hosts, Andreina and Jackie. We're sitting down with artists, gallery owners, creative insiders, and each other for honest conversations about art, creativity, self-doubt, connection, and the real life that happens in between the making.
This isn't about perfection, and it's definitely not about romanticizing the hustle.
It's about creating a space where curiosity thrives, community matters, and we all grow together. Let's go. Hello. Today we are sitting down with Robert Nicholas, an artist, designer, and the founder of Marquee Asheville, here in Asheville's River Arts District. He's known for transforming found, often overlooked objects into these incredible lighting pieces. Everything from lamps to large-scale chandeliers that completely change the feeling of a space. His work shows up in places all over Asheville, from restaurants to breweries. And it all comes from this really unique ability to see potential where others might not.
But beyond his own work, Robert has built something much bigger than himself with Marquee, a space that's become a home for so many of us artists and creatives. And after Hurricane Helene, when so much of the River Arts District fell uncertain, he made the decision to rebuild it, which ended up bringing back not just a space, but a sense of energy and possibility for the whole community. For me personally, Marquee was the first place that opened its doors to me when I moved here as an artist. It gave me a place to land where I didn't even know where I fit in. So this conversation is a special one. Robert, we are so glad that you're here.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Robert, welcome to the Art Confidential.
Thank you.
Yay!
We're so happy you're here.
Yay!
Well, thank you for asking me.
Yes.
So to start things off, we love origin stories. So how did this whole thing start for you?
With Marquee?
With just you, anything.
With just me. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
We go back a ways. Well, I think at a young age, I started looking at life and things differently. I never really fit into the normal boxes that the school system had and the art classes had or the gym teacher had. It was kind of like I wanted to kind of do it my way, but not rebelliously. I just didn't always like their ideas. But as I grew up and started exploring things outside of just a major in college, because I went for 9 years. So none of what I went to college for actually would look on paper what I do today. However, it was just the life experiences and, learning people and working with people. I was a residence hall director in grad school and oversaw over 600 students, over 300 dorm rooms, and I had resident assistants. And so in a sense, I kind of look back, I'm like, yeah, I guess I was kind of overseeing and helping people for quite a while, especially you get freshmen and sophomores into your dorms and they're insecure and they're trying to figure out life. And, from there, I started working with young people, being a mentor, and I was seeing a lot of similarities as I grew up that artists a lot of times are insecure. Like, does anybody see me? Does anybody like what I do? And it was very similar to what I had already been dealing with a younger generation. But I think that those things, happen early on in life and, where we're creative, but we're wondering, do people like what we do? So, I loved, the process of opening my own store before Marquee, which was just my own brick and mortar. And it was also in the River Arts District. But I always longed to be around people. I had other artists in the River Arts District in the same building and, across the street. And
I was upstairs.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how we met.
But we never really got to see each other as much as when this vision and dream of opening up something bigger than me and bigger than Splurge was. And I think it was just organic steps to follow my heart because financially I couldn't afford it. Experience-wise, I had some experience, but I hadn't done this. Mm-hmm. And I just kind of had a desire to do something different. And so like the building of Marquee itself, I had a key for almost 6 years. The owners kind of got tired of having to meet me down there to take someone through this dark building with flashlights, a tape measure, a piece of paper, and spray paint, and kind of marking out and saying, and this could be your space here. And I just kind of I would bring people in that I trusted, people that were positive influences in my life, and people that I could take in and say, am I crazy? I mean,
a little.
Is this just, yeah, they added that in, but they said, I think if anybody could do it, you could do this. And so, it wasn't with great confidence. There was definitely fears and my getting over my own, insecurities and fears and thinking, you know what? I know that I can do things that I can afford to do. I know that I can do things that I have some background with, but to do something that I don't have the full picture of, I was just, I don't know, brave enough to say, yes, I'll try this. I'll do this. And so then it just, as I started planting the seed and sharing the vision and getting the ownership that owned the building to get behind me and say, yes, we believe you can do this. We want to get behind you. It really helped me to catapult into taking it to the next level. So, most businesses have a real clear business plan. They have, when you're designing and laying out a building, you have in like architects and designers that lay it all out. I mean, it was just myself and somebody with a computer and a laser beam tape measure to get the distance there to where then I could start measuring it out, mapping it out. And it was a lot of fun. It was like, I'm doing something that I've never done, but it's scratching an itch that I wasn't able to soothe without taking these steps of faith, steps of if I fall, I'm going to fall hard. But also Rebecca was so amazing. I mean, she's been behind me since day one, and she's also protected me from other ideas that I had.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Spill it, Robert. We want to know. What?
Well, when we first moved here.
Maybe he's saving it. Maybe he's still, has a laser beam somewhere else.
No, this one I don't. I think now that my kids are grown, I'm beyond this one. But when my kids were younger, we used to go to these bouncy house places where there'd be birthday parties and things like this. And there was this one near my hometown in West Virginia that my sister, whenever we'd come up, because she has 2 children, my brother has 2 children. And so the cousins would get together and we'd go to these bouncy house places. I was like, Asheville needs one, but it needs to be different. It needs to have healthy food and snacks. It needs to have a place where moms could have like a track that they could be walking and exercising on while their kids were bouncing and going to all those things. And it was a more interactive type of a thing. And I had the place picked out. It was actually the same landlord that I have today. We looked at this one property and it would have been perfect, but it just never really had the juice that I had with Marquee. And I also had a babysitting service. It was all kid related because I was thinking, what do I need as a father with children and want to go out, and your kids don't want to go out and you don't want to take them out to nice restaurants because they're not going to like what they get, and it's going to cost a lot more money. But yeah, I've always just kind of had thoughts of how to make something better. And I think that's right. It wasn't like, oh, how can I make money? It's like, how can I make something better, a place better? And I feel like with River Arts District, when I opened, Splurge 15 years ago at the Wedge, I knew that it wasn't supposed to be downtown. It wasn't supposed to be in Biltmore Village. It wasn't supposed to be on Antique Row, Swannanoa River Road down there. It was River Arts. It was the place that it connected with me because it was different and it had a soul. And I think for me, that's what I wanted, and even after the hurricane, right, we looked at other places because I was like, who would come back here? I mean, who in their right mind would come back to this place that we lost so much to think that this could happen again? And I just looked at one other place and I was like, it's not it. And I don't want to look anywhere else. It doesn't have the soul and the spirit and the culture and the community that River Arts District has. So it was an easy decision of where. It was just a hard decision to get my heart and my head back into it.
For sure. So, I mean, it's almost like you went full circle, right? Because you started out, like you said, working with youth, in school. And so what was missing from your other idea of the children jumping place, you were not building a community with that. And I think your soul craves that community aspect. And I think that's what Marquee has that other places that I visited that maybe have a similar idea, right? Where it's a collection of vendors. They don't have that. When you walk into Marquee, you can feel it's a community. You can feel the energy even between, the walls, even when there are no vendors present, right? So I think for you, what was missing probably from those other ideas was the community piece. And then with Splurge, you're finding forgotten objects and making them beautiful and pretty. And that's kind of what you did with Marquee too. You find a warehouse out in the middle of nowhere really, and then you make it beautiful and a place of gathering. So it's kind of bringing all of the things that you love in one place. It's a community. It's the vintage is creating something out of nothing, creating something beautiful from what nobody else could have seen.
So for our listeners that aren't familiar with Marquee, that may not be in Asheville, can you explain, what we've mentioned Splurge, what Splurge was, and then what Marquee is and what the difference is so people understand what is Marquee.
Yeah. So my background, when we got married 34 years ago, we bought our first house in Jacksonville, Florida, and we had a few hand-me-downs. We'd both been in college dorms. Being a residence hall director, it was furnished. It wasn't furnished nice. It was just, it had what I needed, And so when we got married, we were like, what do we like? You go to these furniture stores and you're like, it's like, okay, we need a comfortable bed. We know that. I don't want an antique one. You don't want an antique sofa that's not comfortable. It's like, so it was just kind of a learning of what are things that I liked and that we liked together, and started getting into antiques. Went to a garage sale one time, never been. I was like, I need a lawnmower. And so I went to this garage sale. It was like 9:00 in the morning, felt like it was kind of early. And I was like looking around, I was like, didn't see a lawnmower, but I saw some cool furniture. And I was like, oh, how much is that? And they're like, oh, that's sold. I'm like, what about that? And they're like, that's sold. And they're like, you're late. And I'm like, it's 9:00. I'm thinking. So the next week, I went out earlier and I started finding things, and I would go to like historic neighborhoods because I was like, instead of a new neighborhood, because they had things that they'd stored up, or anyway, it just kind of happened where I started like buying things that I thought were really cool, and we put them in our house, and then I started meeting people at these sales, and then I'd go to estate sales and then we'd be standing in line for hours. One time, the biggest estate sale that we ever went to was in Jacksonville, Florida on the river, and we'd heard about it for months, and we went the day before and camped out. And we were number 14 and 15. We slept in our vehicle.
Oh my gosh.
And so then and so like at 7:00, you can start hearing people coming out and cars pulling up. And so there was hundreds of people in line, but because we were already there and we were able to save a space because you spent the night, we bought like crazy. I mean, they started pulling tags and piling up. And so these people were like, who are you guys? And it's like,
what are you doing?
we were selling in little antique malls, and the business just started blowing up. Then we moved to Atlanta, and I'm like, well, how am I going to do it in Atlanta? I know how to do it in Jacksonville. I know all the communities, and this lady who's now, she's still in the business, and she comes to Asheville, comes to Marquee, is one of my biggest fans because she kind of got us, was some of the nurturing below our wings over the years. Like, you guys can do this. You've got an eye for finding things and seeing the beauty in something that maybe other people don't. And so when we moved to Atlanta, the business just blew up. And so that was 6 years in Atlanta and doing antique shows and building an audience from the West Coast to all across the U.S. because we started doing shows on the road in Texas and New England and Nashville and, Atlanta on a regular. So it's just our world just kept opening to what was kind of cool out there because we were selling a lot to the West Coast that would come to Atlanta and buy from us. And so when we moved to Asheville, be 21 years in June, we wanted to start an antique show. And when we first got here, I started looking at places, looking at facilities that could do something like this. And there really wasn't anything that had, the soul to it or the spirit to it. And plus, I didn't know that many people yet. And so I just kind of put that on hold and just continued on with the antique business. What happened was, I think the culmination of being here for now 21 years and being in the River Arts District, I began to build relationships and building a community and got to know more people to where I felt like opening Marquee, people knew who I was. If I'd have tried to do something ambitious like this when I first moved here, it's like, well, who is this guy? It's like, what's the credentials? Do we trust this guy or whatever? So I think, whenever in building a business or a brand or something, it is about relationships and, really having trusting and healthy relationships with people to where they trust me. They trust us, because we've been with y'all for a while. We've been together, and it's like, so, but then mixing those two worlds of vintage and antiques into art, because Asheville is art. It's creativity on steroids. And so I think that one of the reasons that Marquee is such a feast for the eyes is that mixture of home furnishings that's found or made or vintage or antiques, and then all you amazing creatives that do such over-the-top artwork on steroids that the whole nation and beyond is looking at us and thinking, oh my gosh, Asheville is a really unique, special place. And I believe that with Marquee, it encapsulates a real smorgasbord of what Asheville has to offer. So it's a great starting point or ending point, but it shouldn't be the only place that people see. It's a place that we believe is important to our community, and it helps to bring people in, to keep them in our community, to go out and see what else and explore beyond our walls.
Yeah. The other thing, though, I think Marquee does, and again, for me, it was the first place where my doors were opened to show my work here, but it's almost like you give people a permission, without saying you have permission, to show up exactly how they are with what they have. Yeah. Because when you go to Marquee, it's not, it is curated in a way. I know that you're curating the space, but people have permission to just show their weirdest, most authentic selves just as they are. And that's what makes it so unique. And I've talked to artists that have never shown their work, and the first spot that they started showing it was at Marquee, whether it was recently or when I first joined. And they're like, it just basically opened a whole new world because it gave me permission to you belong here too. Show up. And I think that's such a beautiful thing to do because it's building that trust, right? But it's also kind of extending the arm to say, you can sit with us. Yeah. Come on, sit at the cool kids table.
And it's not really just a gallery. I think Marquee is kind of its own entity. So when people say, what is Marquee? Well, it's not really a gallery. It's not like an outdoor market. It's kind of this combination, like you said, of vintage things, but also artists have their own space. Each artist can have a wall. They can have a booth where they curate their own wall. They get to decide how they want it to look. So when you walk through, everything doesn't look the same. Like some person might want their particular wall to be blue. Somebody else will want to paint their wall with something. So every little space is unique and different, which is what's different than a traditional gallery, because you see each individual voice inside this whole voice of Marquee, which has its own vibe, which also has, or I know before Helene, you had a bar. I don't know if that's up and running yet, but that's another thing. Okay. That
it's coming.
Is unique too. So so now we kind of get what it is. Where are you at with the vision of it? And so it's not done.
Yeah, no, we are opening within about a month. It's kind of like a costume shop of locally made wearable art, from all apparel to face masks to hats, and it's just
oh wow,
there's probably close to 20 different makers. We had a meeting a few weeks ago, and it's still open. It's not like, oh well, we're full. It's more of it's in that front area, kind of across the ramp from where the bar is. is, where it's glassed in.
Uh-huh.
And so it's a big space, and it's going to be called Swoon. And one of our artists and past employees, Terry Wells, teamed up with me to do this. She used to run Sugar Britches and was very active in that whole creative apparel scene. And so just having that first kickoff meeting a few weeks ago, it was like, I didn't know half the people in there, that we told them to bring their friends that fit into the same category. So I think that's going to be a really fun addition to Marquee. And then the lounge, which was previously our bar, we branded it to be the Marquee Lounge, or the Lounge at Marquee, because we want it to be a comfortable place. We have a lot of, really fun leather club chairs and sofas, and there's a 40-foot container that the bar will operate out of, where they'll make the drinks and people can sit around that at bar stools. There'll also be a mezzanine with like a second floor above that.
Wow.
There'll also be an outdoor deck, and it'll have its own operating hours. It'll be open during Marquee hours, but then can also stay open later.
Oh, nice.
At some point in the near future.
And folks can stroll around, right? They can.
Yeah.
They're not stuck just sitting there. They can just take their drink and go shopping, which is very unique.
There's 50,000 square feet to walk around and enjoy your drink and come back and get another one. And
That's
then buy
amazing.
lots of fun art.
That's so much fun. I think that's one of the most fun parts about Marquee too, is you have all these amazing events, whether it's at Halloween, or always a fun time with all your events. So I can't imagine what else now is going to happen with this apparel side and the bar side going on.
Well, and then
you do your next event.
And then there's still the restaurant corner, which we actually built out this time around to where it doesn't have a full kitchen in it yet, because that's up to whoever would move in to be the restaurateur. But we're excited to have that in as well. And I think that with all the progress that's happening down in the Foundy Street area and Riverview Station area, all of us that were along the river side down there that received the most damage, all of that's coming back. All of it's being rebuilt as we speak. I just left there, and there's dozens and dozens of people working on the different buildings and work crews. And it's just real exciting to see all that. And with Salvage Station,
that's awesome.
Clearing and cleaning and trying to get all their ducks in a row to, be opening hopefully within the next year or so. It'll be a really positive, shot in the arm for the River Arts District.
I want some of your courage. I feel like I'm pretty brave, but you take it to a whole other level. I'm curious, when somebody asks you, Robert, like, what do you do, or what are you? What's your? Do you say artist, business owner, community organizer? Like what? How do you sum up what you do?
I'm just a lover of people.
I love her. I love it.
I like to see people be all that they're created to be, because I think sometimes we find that we get sold. If you go to college, you have these choices. These are the majors. These are the minors. And then if you can make it through that and pick something that you think you'd want to do, because it seems like a big list when you're coming out of high school. But when you look at the whole world, there's an art major. But what you two do isn't something you learned from art school, right? You
didn't even go to art school.
I didn't go to. I'm an engineer, so I.
Oh, good.
Good. Yeah.
Because what you two do is so different than what anybody else does. It's not mainstream. It's not vanilla. It's over the top. It's things that people drop their jaw when they see it, because they realize it wasn't just painting a horse or painting this amazing, or adding these cars around this painting that Rebecca bought for me from you, Jackie.
Right. That's right.
I love having that in my house. But it's just, I think that once you get away from maybe the college options that are out there, and then maybe you're not happy doing whatever you went to college to do, and you think, oh, there's got to be more to life because I don't feel fulfilled, and I think it's finding that passion and going after it. And, I've said for years, especially with young people, and I'd say it to myself and older people too, that just maybe aren't happy doing what they're doing. It's like, if you could do anything and money, experience, and education wasn't an issue, what would you do? And that kind of takes the pressure off of saying, well, I kind of went to school, I could do this. No, it's like, what do you want to do? And if they can't really pinpoint what it is, it's like, well, tell me somebody that's doing something that you like what they do. Point out somebody somebody who's doing something, it's like, man, I'd love to do what they do. And then the next thing is like, what step could you take today to move towards that? And you do have to get rid of those voices and those, the things that try to distract and try to deflate and tell you that you're underqualified, you don't have the goods, you're weird. People, who's going to buy your art? It doesn't even make sense. It's like, it doesn't have to, it's like, and so for me in my life, we adopted our children and people were like, oh, y'all are so great. I was like, we just said yes. We didn't have the training, the experience, the finances. And it's when you adopt a kid, it's not free. And, and having natural kids isn't free either.
No.
And there's never a perfect time, A, to get married, A, to have children, B, to open up a store. It's just, you just have to do it and say yes and have encouraging people around you. I think that's the other thing. If you have negative people and you're around negative environments and watching negative news, none of that feeds your spirit, and it's like having things that feed you and your heart and your spirit and your mind and your soul. I mean, that's where it's at, and I think that's where the creativity comes. And the more that artists allow themselves the freedom to just express and explore and not keep redoing, not copying, but do something that hasn't been done yet. And when I had Splurge and was creating these light fixtures, I used to call these guys that would come in, I call them the hell honeys, and their spouse or partner or whoever would be like, I love this so much. And they'd be like, well, hell, honey, all it is I could make you that. And so we
get that all the time.
Yeah, but
I could do that.
And they can't. But I kept going after creating something that the Hell Honeys had no paradigm on how to do that or create it, especially with lighting, it's like, well, with anything, the more you're around it, the more you're touching it, the more you're creating and you know how these colors work, how these brushes, these techniques, you do things that the Hell Honeys can't. It takes years and you don't tell them how you do it.
I think we need a t-shirt. Don't be a hell honey.
Yeah.
And
let's get some merchandise.
We get that a lot, just having these studios that the public just comes in and, we get to watch people looking at our art. And a lot of times they're taking pictures or, oh, my husband can do that. But the question is, but did he? He didn't do it. We did it. Yeah. Or, it's so that's really funny. Hell honeys. I love that.
Hell honeys. We need some merchandise to sell at Marquee.
Yes.
Hell honeys.
Hell honeys, go downtown.
We don't need you.
So I think after all that, how I would describe you is you're a dreamer and you're a dream facilitator, because not just you're facilitating your own dreams, but also you're encouraging others. You mentioned your kids. I'm sure you're doing with your kids, but to us as artists or other creatives to pursue those dreams, right? Like, what is stopping you? What could you do today? And that's so important, because I think a lot of people think, you have to know the end so that you can get started. And it's like, no, what is the next right thing you can do? Like today, just one little thing. And, like Jack and I with this podcast, like we have no idea, right? Like how to do a podcast. How do we even start? And, you just kind of figure it out. You put yourself out there and what's the worst that can happen, right?
Exactly.
So
that's where the juice is. It's that risk taking. If it was so easy, just like go here, point A, point B, point C, that's so boring. It is absolutely the unknown, the risk taking, you have no idea how it's going to come out. And then it's a surprise and a delight. And that's the juice.
Yes.
That's the juice.
Absolutely. Well, I'm proud of you all for starting this, because, it's like y'all are so creative and it's like y'all are kind of teasing everybody online, like something's coming. I'm like, what do they got up their sleeve? I can't wait to see this. So,
I was the same, Robert, because she messaged me and she was like, I have an idea of something we can do together. And I totally thought she meant like, oh, we can do a little post or a reel together. I thought she just, because now we're in the same building, she comes to my studio and she's like, I was thinking we should start a podcast. And I was like, wait, what? Have you heard me speak? Like, am I the right person for this job?
You absolutely are. You both are overqualified for this. So just remember that.
Thank you.
Anytime that you think, oh gosh, what are we doing? It's like, you're overqualified. The fact that you got the seed in your heart, you're qualified. And then you take the next step, you're overqualified. So keep on rocking it.
And part of this is selfish, I will say. We love promoting other people too, for sure. That is, get people's stories out there. But for us, or for me, I want to know the story. I want to talk to people. I want to meet people. I want to know. So we don't pretend to be experts ever. It is like we are wanting to learn. It's curiosity. And that was why this podcast felt so right, because there's so many people doing so many different things and everybody's really busy. And just take a half hour with us, that having these conversations is so important, I think, and fulfilling for us.
And I think it's demystifying for people that maybe are just sitting there in their day jobs, not to put day jobs down because I have one too, but they're sitting there thinking, oh, only if I could do that, or only, so putting it out there like you could, nothing's stopping you, even with a day job or even with little kids, or even if you don't think you have the space or the money or the time, you could. So it's kind of demystifying a lot of things that sometimes stop us as humans from pursuing something that we love, even if it's not a business, even if it's just something that you're doing just for yourself in your own home or whatever. We all, the three of us, as creatives, we know how much that feeds our souls and hearts, right? And so I think spreading that is so important. And for us, for this podcast, like, it's about community. Jackie and I talk about this a lot. We wanted to get to know each other better, but we also wanted to get to know other people better and bring the community together because we're stronger as one. And I think you've shown us that with Marquee and then coming back. I remember when the hurricane happened and I was talking to my dad, and my dad was like, there is no way, honey, that he's coming back. Like, there is just no way. Like, who would do that? And I was like, I'm so sad, like, I love Marquee. And then when you announced that you were coming back, I called my dad and he was like, wow. Like, he was shocked too. He's like, that's amazing. I was like, well, that's the kind of person Robert is. He's not going to let this dream down. He's not going to let us down. And you said, who's crazy enough to come back? Well, I can tell you, when I went to sign up, there was like a line of people waiting to sign up. And most of them were people coming back. So we all felt it for sure.
Yeah. I mean, it was a process, for me to get to that point because it was numb. I was numb for a while. And it wasn't until I went and took it was a 10-day kind of sabbatical down in Florida. I was fortunate enough, my sister-in-law has a place that is in Naples, right outside of Naples, and it's 10 minutes from the beach. And it took me a week just to kind of like feel like even, just to get my life, my heart just kind of back to like an even spot. But I still felt a little desensitized. And it wasn't until the seventh night I was at sunset. I went to every sunset when I was down there, by the way.
Oh, nice.
And it was like all of a sudden, it was like I could see in color again. And I could physically go through the motions to reopen it, but I was still missing that mojo. And I was so thankful that I had that 10 days because that night I sat on the beach an hour after sunset. I was the last one there and it was still beautiful. It just kept getting more beautiful after everybody left. And I was there and I was just writing these notes to myself and these ideas. And it was like it was coming back. And I think at that point I was able to say, okay, we're doing this. This is happening. Plus I started going to therapy. It was the best thing for me. And, I've even said this and I want it to be heard the right way, but it was probably the best year of my life.
Well, because there is so much growth, right? I think for me, I was also very numb after. I couldn't paint, I couldn't do anything. But then once you come out on the other side and the beauty of it, right? On what you see other people, your community, your neighbors, I think that, I don't want to use the wrong words, right? It like exhilarating, but it brings you so much joy to see the humanity on the other side. And I think the only other time that we felt that as a community was during COVID, right? And that was universal. But this one being local, I mean, it was powerful. So I totally get it.
Definitely strengthens attention too. Like we don't take anything for granted now. It's not just like, it's like it really focuses something deep.
Yeah, it really
to
does.
Reopen. It's a huge risk. That's got to come from way down in there.
Well, I think the main difference between COVID and Helene was COVID kind of separated us. We were all like distanced, masked. We got together. We sat so far apart, But Helene just brought us together. It was like people were, had extension cords outside their house to share electricity. They were giving away. People were giving away. We didn't care what color they were. We didn't care what religion they were, who they voted for at that point. What, who they were sleeping with. You know, it was like, we didn't care. We didn't look at people if they were clean, dirty. We were all dirty, you know.
We were neighbors first and foremost.
Yes, it was the most beautiful part of humanity that I've experienced in my 63 years. And we would go out of town for a weekend to wash our clothes, go to Charlotte, and you all of a sudden you left this community where you come to a stoplight that's not working, and people are like, "Oh, go ahead. Oh no, you go ahead. You go ahead." And everyone was so, you know. Then you get into like a big city, and everybody's like beeping their horn and going fast, and our whole world just got rocked, and your alls didn't. And I feel different now, and I feel more compassionate. I feel more empathy. And I think that even what you all are doing through this podcast, you're not promoting yourself. You're promoting other people's stories, and that will come back to bless you guys. You know, it's like your stories are great too, and we want to hear those. But the fact that you're sharing and wanting to hear other people's stories, hopefully these will encourage other people. I want to encourage other people. That's why I'm doing this with you guys. And, you know, the more we can operate out of empathy and sympathy and encouragement and love, then, you know, how can we go wrong?
Amen.
Absolutely.
So, Robert, we always love to end our interviews with some rapid fire questions. No pressure. You don't have to think about it. Just this kind of rapid fire. Okay.
All right.
So, morning or night owl?
I'm a little both. I like to wake up and I like to stay up. I also like to sleep.
See, I don't like to get up and I like to go to bed. So I'm like, I just want to sleep, period.
Yeah.
Okay. So what are you watching or reading or both right now?
You know, I haven't watched TV for 2 months. I know. And tonight, Rebecca and I are having a TV night. And
oh, good.
What's on the menu?
What is this show? So it's something that, what's his name? From The Office.
Oh,
Steve Carell.
Steve Carell. It's something that he's in. And then there's the new one with Daniel Levy. I heard that one's great.
Big Mistakes, I think it's called.
Yes.
Yeah, we just started that one. It's good.
Okay.
Are you reading anything right now?
I'm not right now, but I've got a list of books that I'm trying to get back to. Well, I actually let them. Do you know that book by Mel
Robbins? Yeah.
Yes.
I've probably listened to it 5 times in the last year. That was a very motivational, encouraging book for me.
That's a great book.
Over the last year, my whole staff, I gave them a copy. They're reading it. It helps to take away the pressure of not really giving a shit about what people say, think, or what they're not saying or thinking that you think that they're saying and thinking because of a look that you got. You know, it's just not letting little things bother you. Just let them.
Well, we will link that book in the show notes so everybody can get that. Okay. Favorite Asheville brewery or hidden gem?
Well, I don't drink anymore.
Hidden gem.
Hidden gem. I love salsas. I've been a salsa guy for a long time as far as a food gem. Coffee, I love Cooperative, but I like a lot of the local coffees too.
That's a good one. Okay, I think you maybe have already answered this, but I'm going to ask anyway. What has you really excited right now?
Well, let's see. You know, I'm definitely wanting to see the River Arts District get more and more cohesive and complete. You know, I don't know that it'll ever be finished. I hope it doesn't ever get finished, but I feel like just more unity, and as things come together, you know, selfishly our bar, the restaurant, you know, I want Marquee to be, you know, running at 100%. I mean, we're running at 100% with what we got and what's going on in there, but there's still pieces of it that needs to be finished, and I'm ready for that.
Okay. One thing beginning artists should never do.
They should probably never listen to anybody that's negative and anyone that says you need a real job or you need something to fall back on. So they should give it 100% and just not copy and do themselves, do what's in their heart, in their head.
It's like that quote that says, don't ask for directions to people that have never been where you want to go.
Exactly. That's great.
That's good.
Yeah. Okay. So when you are working or creating, do you listen to music, podcast, silence?
You know, I'm a big music guy. I'm a huge audiophile. Like I love albums and music, but sometimes I have to turn it all off and just be really quiet. I find that I'm most creative when when I'm driving, going on a trip somewhere. I do go to Atlanta on a regular basis or go visit my family in West Virginia. I really see those as therapeutic for me. And I rarely ever turn on the radio or I sometimes listen to music, but a lot of times I'll listen to podcasts or a book, audiobook, and the audiobooks are pretty much more business and self-help. If it's a novel or fiction or something, I want to hold it in my hands.
I'm the same way. So I listen to like nonfiction, like self-help or even poetry I love to listen to, but I like to read my novels.
Yeah, I like to hold it. It's like, even with music, it's like I like to hold the album. I like to pull it out. It's engaging. It's like,
yeah.
If I go to a place that has a drive-through, I don't drive through. I get out and go in and place my order. I want to talk to the person that I'm still old-fashioned. When my kids are in the car, they're like, I always get the order mixed up. I can't hear them drive through. I'm like, write it down. I'm going inside and I'll get it. Anybody else wants to come in? And they're like, Dad, you put it in the app and then it's ready for you. And I'm like,
oh,
that's
no.
boring. I want to go talk to people.
Okay, so if you could go back, what would you tell your 10-year-old self, little baby Robert?
Oh, wow. I think I'd say I'm proud of you.
I love that.
I do too.
I don't think we hear that enough. That's great. So, Robert, can you please tell everybody where they can find you on social media, where they can find Marquee, anything that you want to let people know how to get in touch with you or where they can find you?
Yeah, well, Marquee is in the River Arts District here in Asheville, and our website is marqueeasheville.com, and our email is marqueeasheville@gmail.com, and I see all of that. Don't message me on Instagram because we never, or Messenger. I don't get alerts. I don't pay attention. There's too many ways. It's just, or call me or come by. It's like, I'm a more face-to-face type person.
And we will link everything so people know how to spell it. We'll have the direct links that they can find you and find Marquee and find the website and all of that. Thank you, Robert. This was so wonderful to sit down with you and talk to you. We know you're so busy, so we really appreciate the time.
Well, I'm not this busy to not be able to have conversations and talk to people. I would like to say one more thing.
Yes.
I learned something about 10 years ago. Somebody came up to me and said, how are you doing? I was thinking about you about a month ago. I hadn't seen them in a while. And I said, why didn't you call me or text me when you thought of me instead of waiting till you bumped into me? Because I was going through a rough patch. And I wasn't so much trying to get onto this person, but I was more or less thinking about how if my phone is not ringing off the hook with people calling, texting, messaging, and saying, good job, Robert. I'm proud of you. I really am excited about what you're doing. If that's not happening to me, I'm thinking, I bet that's not happening to most people. And so I've kind of made it my thing. If I think of somebody or someone comes to mind, I believe it's for a reason. I don't think we just think of somebody if there's no purpose or reason behind it. So I just want to leave this with, if you think of somebody or someone comes to your mind, your heart, reach out to them then and now, because I think that the higher power or God uses us as conduits to encourage other people. And I just want to encourage everybody that if you think of someone, let them know that, because it may be a big deal to them at that time. And it could be, you be that person that makes a difference in someone's life that day.
I love that.
I love that.
And then repeat and do it every time.
Yes. Great advice.
And it's true. Sometimes like you dream of somebody and you wake up and you're like, oh, I wonder what happened to a person. And then you don't do anything about it. So I love that advice.
Yes.
Thank you, Robert.
Thank you so much again.
You all. Thanks for what y'all are doing. Keep creating.
Oh, we will.
We have to.
Yes.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. We really appreciate you. And we will see you in the next episode.
Bye. If you are loving these behind-the-scenes confessions, don't forget to subscribe and leave us a rating or a review. It helps The Art Confidential reach more listeners and keeps this creative conversation growing.
Follow us on Instagram at The Art Confidential, where you can send us your questions, comments, or future topic requests. We'd love to hear from you. And you can find us personally at By Andreina and at Jackie Fell for more of our day-to-day creative lives. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you in the next episode.